I mean, I know what we're doing.
What did you have a question about, real quick?
I know what I'm doing. I mean, I know what this is. It's just...
Great shirts.
Yeah. Yeah.
For this.
Did you have yours on first?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
All
I
day.
don't have many choices. I need to get my summer clothes out.
Yeah.
All my
Hey.
Summer clothes are packed away.
Welcome. We're not doing the buffer zone here. This is the message.
Sorry.
So serious faces. We're excited to be spending a little bit of time with you on online, at Risen Online this morning, or maybe on YouTube. Maybe you're watching after. My name is Drew.
My name's Megan.
We are part of
Risen Church.
Risen Church Incorporated, LLC,
Yeah.
org.
Welcome back
.gov.
to our online experience.
Yeah. This is nice, that we have this kind of thing going. It feels especially nice to me today, and I mean this with all sincerity in my heart. It feels especially nice to be doing this, looking at a camera again, just having spent some time with the real people on the other side of this camera lens.
Yeah.
Like
you can see faces in there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Me too.
Hey, I didn't know you were gonna be here today. But Megan's joining me for the message today because we're not really doing much of a Bible study. I have a little bit of scripture I'd like to share.
That's
just
why
at
I'm
the
allowed
end.
to be.
Well, yeah,
here
a
today,
woman
'cause
can't
we're not
teach the
doing a
Bible.
study.
Come on.
That's what you made it sound
Hashtag
like.
Beth Moore, everybody. Hashtag Beth Moore. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you should Google Beth Moore right now. There's a lot of fun. We're going to talk about it as a church pretty soon, actually. Couple weeks. But no, I wanted, because this whole thing was really formed out of a conversation and out of really a vision that we've had for a while, and something that when we're really honest about it and we really look back, we would say for years we have felt this way. And 2020, we have been talking about, well, how do we do it? How do we get back in to nice product placement? Oh, no,
My
show the
hand's
label.
completely on there.
How do we get back into the swing of having a real consistent ministry in all the ways that we really hope to have a ministry?
Right.
And it really kind of boils down, and we did do this in a podcast episode where we talk a lot longer than we're going to here. We're going to try to do this in under 20 minutes on this video.
There's no arguing today.
No arguing. But in the last episode, which was 12B, the Deconstructed worship service, or the Deconstructed church service, I think. We talked about all of this.
Service.
It's church service.
Okay.
I know it says worship service there. It's church service on the podcast, huh?
Nothing.
But we talked at great length about it. We covered a little more ground. There's a little more story involved in all of it. But we kind of wanted to just play it out for everybody here and make this as accessible as possible. And really it boils down to this, and I'm going to hand it over to you.
Yeah.
It boils down to 4 things.
Yeah.
We have always thought of church services as accomplishing 4 goals. Okay. You probably do too. Really, I think every church does. We're just going to go over them,
just so
Let's
everybody's
just talk
aware
about what are
of,
the
like,
4
just
things.
in case. The 4 things that we've always existed to accomplish, yeah. Number 1 would be to teach the Bible, and most importantly, and specifically the ways of Jesus. That's the number 1 thing. Number 2, we exist to give generously to our community. You guys are a generous community, and we want to give that away and help where we can. Number 3, we worship together. We used to do that regularly, right? Like every week we would get together and worship together. And then number 4, connect people to each other. We want you to be friends.
And we want life is better with company.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
A pretty early message, actually,
Yeah,
that we,
that's true.
like in the first 6 weeks of the church, I think we did a message where we said life is better with company.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we did those things.
We did.
Regularly.
And those 4 things, teaching the way of Jesus, or teaching the Bible, giving generously, worshiping together, and spending time with each other in community, those are fantastic. Those are the reasons we exist, but they're also they're not particularly unique even to Risen Church.
Yeah.
Like basically every church, every American church exists to do those four things. They may teach the Bible a little differently. They may focus on different aspects of the scripture. They may sing different songs, or those songs may sound different when they sing them. They may have interpretive dances, different interpretive dances than we have.
Right.
Because Megan does a lot of interpretive dancing that she won't share with the community. She likes to hide that light under a bushel.
Okay.
You know what it does there? Well, it might catch a bushel on fire. But basically, every American evangelical church does those four things for the past 104 years. We used to, and this is the big point we're making here, we used to accomplish all four of those things. The strategy to accomplish all four of those things: teach the Bible, worship together, give, and spend time together, connect together. We did all four of those things in a 90-minute window once a week on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
If you missed that 90-minute window, you missed the opportunity to give in the Joy Box. Mm-hmm. You missed the opportunity to sing worship songs with us. Mm-hmm. You missed the opportunity to hear the message. You missed the opportunity to see anybody's face and talk to anybody.
Right.
That was it. And in our culture, and in this place and time in human history, we all maybe make that happen once a week, and maybe once a month, maybe a few times a year. And if you miss any part of it, you miss all of it.
Yeah.
That's just the way that it's been kind of going.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's...
Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, you jump on down there.
Yeah.
We're basically doing the podcast on camera this week.
I know.
This is...
Yeah, that's why we have the same notes, pretty much. We still want to accomplish all of those things, though. Those four main things. We still want those to happen. We still believe that those are the things that Risen Church is really all about.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, those are, yeah. So, but we want to do it differently now. We want to...
Yeah, well, we still believe there's more to learn from the teachings and life of Jesus. Like, there's more... there's more to that. The more we apply those teachings in that way, the better the world gets, the more of heaven we bring to the earth. We still believe there are people in need of our help in our community. We believe there's something to us pooling resources and being able to reach out. And we're able to do that more than ever now. By the way, when we were meeting when we did all four of those things at a place for 90 minutes and we said we'd love for you to give in the Joy Box or online, the reality was that a significant portion of what you gave was going to make the building happen. That's just a very serious reality. It was a lot better when we moved to the R building, but even for the first year and a half where we were at the movie theater, it was almost half. Yeah. Almost half of everything we ever gave was going to so that we could meet there, so that we could have that thing that people could come to once a week, or let's be honest, once a month. For where all four of the things were accomplished. But now we're giving away more than we ever have as a church. We're 4 years in, and we are giving away more to feed hungry people and to meet needs outside of our community than we ever have. Which is really cool. But then those four things, they're still really important to us. We still want to worship. We still want to invite people to experience true communion with God. We want those things to happen. And we still want friendships that challenge and encourage and develop us. Like, we want to have meaningful relationships with people that we can help and who can help us along the way. Yeah. But before we get to this list, let's just have a little disclaimer. Yeah. Do you want to do any other disclaimer?
This is your disclaimer.
Well, I just did the previous part. I got to do the disclaimer too.
Yeah, I'll do the revised list.
Okay, the Deconstructed Worship Church Experience, whatever. Yeah. Megan will do those four, the revised list, the four things we're still going to do, but how we're going to do them differently. But before we say that, I want to say something that I don't want this to come off as harsh whatsoever. I honestly want it to be honest in a way that is useful to us. A little bit of a let's go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off just a little bit for anybody who is unclear about this.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's only fair that there's a clear path forward. Yeah. Like this, I mean, it's been kind of a year of like not really sure what we're doing, not really sure what the next steps are going to be, but I feel like this is clear for us, and these are the next steps. And yeah. And it's only fair.
Right. So
that
let's say
everybody
it.
knows.
Let's say it this way: as much as we loved, cherished, considered the first several years of Risen Church to be some of the best years of our life, so many dreams realized, so many like just seeds planted and things coming, things beginning to grow, and things, this community becoming what it is. As much as we loved it, I don't want to get back to the way things were. I don't want to go back to 2019. That is not the plan. And I know there's a lot of us, I mean, no offense to anybody who just wants things to go back. I totally understand the notion. I understand the longing. It's called nostalgia. It's pretty common. Megan told me not to read that line, but it's totally true. It's also, not only is it nostalgic and it's really common to feel this way, it's a really unreliable source of information. We all have sort of a rose-tinted view of the past whenever it comes to, or many of us have a rose-tinted view of the past whenever it comes to these things. We remember things as being better than they actually were, or more significant in our lives than they actually were. And the reality is that church attendance, the way that church has done church, the 90-minute window once a week on Sunday mornings, has been on the decline in the United States for as long as I've been alive, and really a little bit longer than that. It started declining in about 1969 or 70 or somewhere around that. The decline has been getting steeper and steeper for the past few years. It's gone from something like this to taking a curve, turning downward. Millennial populations, really starting with Gen X populations, which I think is the generation just a little bit older than us. And then millennial populations are attending church even less, don't want to be a part of. Gen Z is an even steeper drop. COVID-19 resulted in a massive drop, which, that part will come back a little bit. The numbers right now are not true to what they may be in a little bit. But the bottom line is that this has been a down and to the right trip for church attendance within that model for a very, very long time. I'm not making a statement that the church has been failing, I'm making a statement that model of church will continue. There will be great and wonderful churches that continue to do that, and that we'll continue to support. We'll continue to participate with them from time to time. We'll partner up with them. But that way of doing it, Risen Church was not immune to those changes. Risen Church has seen, I think we could honestly say this is true. We could say it's true from a financial standpoint and from just an overall reach standpoint. There are more people today who consider themselves to be a part of Risen Church than there were in the past, yet our weekly gatherings were getting kind of smaller and smaller over the years. Yeah. Like, people were saying, we love what you're doing, we want to be a part of what you're doing, except like we're not going to come every week.
Right.
Like, you want us to come every week? Like, the only way for us to really be a part, we love being a part, but the only way for us to be a part is to come for a 90-minute window on Sunday mornings? Sometimes I work on Sundays. Sometimes I like to travel on the weekends. Mm-hmm. Sometimes my kid plays t-ball on Sundays. Sometimes Sunday is the only weekday that we can actually get up and have brunch as a family, or have something open. So anyways, all that to say, those are all speculative and just sort of trying to figure out why has the world changed. But the bottom line is, I'm just trying to say the world has changed, and there is space for a new approach to things. We don't have to abandon any of the four things that we always wanted to be. Now, I will say, we discussed before whether we wanted to throw this caveat in there. Will this shift again or change again in 6 months to a year? We don't exactly know. But even if everything changed and everything came back and COVID went away and people were like, we're ready to go back to exactly the way things were in 2019, well, exactly the way they were in 2019 was still on the decline. It was still like less people going to that thing on Sunday morning for 90 minutes every year, with each passing generation, less and less people participating in it. So we really want to be a part of heaven coming to earth through the local church. And we think there might actually be a need for a new approach. So we are proposing
the Deconstructed Church Experience. Is
Tell
that
them
how
about-
you would say that?
Tell them about deconstructed lasagna.
Again? the fancier way.
I just thought it was your go-to.
Yeah.
It is the fanciest way to consume lasagna. Would be to deconstruct. Deconstruct a meal.
Yeah. All right. So our proposition, I guess, is what we would say. And no, but for serious, number one, teaching. We still want to teach Jesus. We still want to, I don't know, what did I say? The Bible. That's the word I was looking for.
The
is
Bible.
The Bible. We still want to teach the
it?
Bible. Yeah. Anyways, but we're going to do that. We're going to be doing that through our podcast, through our online videos, and through the kid lesson.
Hold on. People are running.
I just saw some.
I think something may have slipped by just now.
I saw that. I think I said kid lesson, and I think the kid appeared.
Number one, teaching.
Teaching,
You got
yeah.
it.
And pretty soon some live Q&R sessions. So
Yeah.
that'll be kind of fun and new.
Yeah.
So that's teaching. Number two, giving more money away than we have in the past 4 years as a history of our community.
I'm saying we are. It says we are giving away more money than we ever have before.
Yeah.
That's 100% true.
Yeah.
We are now.
Definitely. We don't have a building anymore.
We don't have those
we don't
expenses.
have those expenses anymore.
Yeah.
So we're
And you have
able to
continued to
give
give generously, and so we've been able to. Basically, when we got rid of the building, we said nobody's getting a raise. We're not changing any of the, like, basically we've dropped all of these expenses. We're going to give more money away, and we do.
Yeah.
So today, 4 years in, on the tail end of a pandemic, Risen Church gives more money to feed hungry people than we ever have before.
Yeah.
More money leaves this this community to help our community all around us than ever before.
And we're going to continue to do that. Number three, worshiping together once a month, like we did last week at Uptown Alley. And we're just going to continue to do that once a month. Instead of it being an every week thing.
Yep, and we're seeking out some different facilities and options for it. Uptown Alley may be something that we use again. We may look for an outdoor amphitheater type of thing that we could use through the summer, but kind of keeping our options open there and saying once a month, though, we are going to have an actual spiritual worship experience, communion with God and with each other kind of experience.
Yeah. And then number four, we are going to have a weekly gathering on Sunday afternoons where we can just see each other's faces and hang out and talk and just be in each other's lives.
Yeah.
And
so for anyone who has been saying, like, I really miss getting together. I want us to be getting together again. We would say, yeah, well, we're ready to start doing that again. But when we get together, we're going to do things that we couldn't do when we were apart. Mm-hmm. And so the bottom line is, I'm not going to be teaching when we get together. I can do that when we're apart. I think I can do that more effectively when we're apart. I think I'm kind of done with the idea of getting together with my favorite people on the planet, with what I would consider to be a family, and spending over half of that time with all of you sitting silently while I talk in your direction, when we can do that here on Sunday morning on a video or whenever you want to watch it. And then whenever we get together, we can talk to each other.
Yeah.
The podcast, we talked at great length. If there's any concern about, like, well, wait a second, you're telling me that the thing that we do whenever we get together every week is not going to be like a worship service. We're not going to be doing anything spiritual. That's kind of what the podcast really covered. Is basically what we're saying is we used to do 4 things whenever we got together. We just did them all at once, and now we have deconstructed it and said, well, no, I'm not teaching when we get together because I'm teaching on the podcast. We're teaching in the message. No, we're not worshiping.
Which will still be weekly. I mean, we'll still have an online message. We'll still have a weekly podcast once a week and getting together once a week.
Yeah. And when we were like, wait, we're not worshiping every time we get together? No, we're worshiping in specific experiences where we invite the communion together, the community that wants to worship together for those experiences. And when we get together, we're basically replacing the lobby, right? The new lobby is the world. Yeah. Right?
Right.
The earth is our lobby. All right, I want to read a scripture real quick, and then we'll be done with what we want to share with you today. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 23. I'm sure you've heard this quoted a few times, maybe at you, over the past year. But let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. And let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works. This is the vision of the writer of Hebrews for what the church is actually supposed to do. Let us be a people who spur each other on, encourage each other to do good works, to make the world better, to love better. And then in verse 25, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some. And let's not point a finger at anybody here. This whole passage is actually addressing a specific season of time when people had gotten a little bit out of the habit and a little bit out. There were a selection of people who considered themselves part of the way of Jesus, part of the church, who were not making a regular habit of getting involved with the rest of the family. And so someone wrote this encouraging thing. He's like, hey, let's not miss out on the opportunity that we have of being family, being together, not neglecting meeting together, but encouraging one another. And all the more as we see the day drawing near, as we see the seasons changing again, as we see things coming back, as we see the world shifting again, let's make sure that we don't miss out on what can happen when we're in each other's lives, when we're truly there for each other, truly loving each other, truly encouraging each other, truly stirring each other up for good works. You have anything you'd like to say? Close us out?
No.
All right.